Greetings, magical souls. It's been a week since I've been on, and it feels like it's been about 3 years. Yeah, so I'm really, really tired. I've not slept well in the past 3 weeks, and yeah, this week's been particularly rough. But I've been awake since 3 o'clock. So yeah, I was woken up with a message to share, and I was actually contemplating whether I should come on and do it when I was still awake at 4:30 and I couldn't sleep. But I am not going to be hijacked by my mind anymore. So I decided to leave it. And I thought, if the message is still there this morning, I will come on and share it. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing well out there. I think it was last Friday that I put my last video out, where I said I'd gone to bed on the Thursday night and woken up the Friday morning feeling like I was in a different world. And it's the same this morning. So something is happening. I've got that really woke up to heavy rain this morning when we've had such a week of just absolutely gorgeous hot weather. It felt like a cleansing and it was just beautiful, the rain this morning. And there's an intense quiet and peace and tranquility about again. And yeah, it's just it's quite beautiful actually. So I just wanted to come on and share, and I apologize. I always try not to ramble, but some of these things are really so hard to articulate. And then if I try and edit the video, I just miss too much, but I'm going to try and keep it brief. But so the message this morning was one to be shared about just realizing your power. And I know that I've touched on this before, but we are creator beings, and there is so much stuff out there at the moment. You know, I feel like there's a lot of stuff on what I like to call team light on the good side that is also a little bit of fear mongering and that sort of thing at the moment. And I wanted to remind people that we create our realities. So remember that what's being pushed out there, if we give it energy, we create it. So what I do is I like to be aware of some of these things because it's just an awareness. But often it'll be a headline or something that I'll see, but I don't even go and read the article, because the headline itself is enough for me to just go, oh, so that's what they're putting out there now. But I'm not going to go and read the article and give it energy. Why must I do that? The best place for me to make changes in the world is for me to hold the vision and to be the world, be the being that I would like to see in this world of magic, wonder, health, joy, peace, miracles, So the message was just there seems to be a hell of a lot of stuff out there at the moment. And as I say, I feel like some of it is from almost team light. But I think that a lot of these things are tests to see whether we can stand in our sovereignty, and are we listening to the being within? Because you are your own guru. So everybody is on a different path, and we're all at different stages of the path, and there's not one that's further behind or further advanced or better or bigger or worse, or it just is. And I want the message was for people to just accept themselves where they are. Accept yourself where you are, and try and attune to your inner guidance. You are your own guide and your own guru. There's many people commenting out there at the moment that they're under psychic attack, and and things are so dark and it's ramping up and they're all coming for our light. And And then on the other side, there are people saying, well, you don't need to protect yourself because your light protects you. And my message today is, what do you say? Where are you at? Can you meet yourself where you are at? Can you listen to your inner guidance? Because you might need protection one day and not the next. It might be that as your vibration and your frequency goes up or down, you might need protection or you might not. And I'm going, where is this the reason why we still can't meet others where they're at? And is this the reason why we still can't hold compassion for those who are seemingly not awake yet? Because we can't even meet ourselves where we're at. And doesn't everything start from within? So, I mean, a couple of times over the past weeks, I've had this where I've found myself almost going, well, why am I not thinking along those lines? And this is why I've come on today. And as I say, I didn't really think about it before now, but I've now woken up this morning just with this real strong, it was like an epiphany this morning where, well, I'm not even accepting me where I'm at. So how can I accept others where they're at? And if you think about that, about how we've all been divided and to be fighting against each other, whether it's vegans versus meat eaters, white versus black, gay versus straight, or whatever the case is, how we've all been divided. This is a similar thing, because when we can love ourselves and we love ourselves and we are comfortable and we know who we are, we can extend that love to the rest of the world. If we can't meet ourselves where we're at, how do we meet others where they're at? And isn't this what we're trying to do? Is we're trying to be accepting and understanding of those who may not be so-called awakened yet or whatever. And I know a lot of us are feeling frustration and like, oh, can we just get out of this? Can we just move forward? But maybe it's when we can hold that space for ourselves that we can hold it for others, because we know that everything starts from within. So that was really the essence of my message today. And then, you know, the other thing is that remember that you are a powerful creator. So you create your reality. So I'm by no means, I'm going to put a disclaimer up now because this might trigger a lot of people. I'm not saying that when we suffer in these lives that it is just to be discarded. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm just asking everybody out there to do is, if you can be present and you can be in the moment and you can be in touch with your inner being and be aware of your state of being, because I feel like that's another thing. We've moved out of your state of mind. I think a little while ago we were in the mind where we had to watch our thoughts and whatever, because that's where, you know, creation starts. But now it's the being. And especially now that we know how big our heart is our second brain, and we've got another brain in the stomach. But our heart is the biggest and most powerful center in our being. And I believe that our beingness can override our mental, our mind and our ego. So what I also got this morning is that our state of being is becoming important, not our state of mind. Because even if you have negative thoughts and things running through, if your state of being is in a state of coherence, harmony, and cohesion, it'll automatically obliterate what's going on in your mind, because it is that powerful and that big. So we are needing to move into a state of beingness. And I really love that, because we've been talking about more embodying the soul. And so for me, this really feels quite powerful and like quite a small thing, but yet a massive thing. So anyway, so sorry, to get back to my point, is when you realize that you're a master creator and that you create your reality, just think about, you know, if you can try and if you're present with yourself and you can try and understand that everything from the human perspective is experience. And everything from your soul's perspective is experience. The human tends to take things personally. So if you can try and be present, you can start undoing some of the unconscious programming and habits that you've got. Because ultimately you can't do anything about anything that's going out there. You can only change you. So if you can change the way you are responding to things, you are already starting to rewire what's going on up here. And that was the other important part of today, is that any negative experiences in your life that may be holding you back because you've now got a limiting belief or a perception about something, how can you look at those differently? Can you look at them through different eyes, through a different lens, or from a different perspective? And how will that set you free? So the reason that I say that, and as I say, at the risk of triggering people, I am not by any way, shape or form demeaning the experiences that we've had. I mean, I myself had, was in an abusive relationship for 11 years, and it was definitely no fucking walk in the park. Sorry. It's when you can look at things from a different perspective, you empower yourself, and you release the limiting beliefs, and you release your smallness, and you release your attachment. I think that's the word. You release your attachment to the way you see yourself, or the being that you think you are. And it can be really, really empowering and really, really freeing. And it can allow you to then make those massive shifts and move into the different and bigger versions of yourself. So, and I think there's a little bit along the same lines there of, whether you need protection or not, because if you can, I mean, I've had on a couple of occasions where I've been aware that I've been dreaming, and I have had some energy come in that has felt a little bit dark and disturbing, and almost like I was being manipulated, or let's just say there was something there, because I don't like to use the word targeted. And this is the reason why I don't like to use the word targeted, is because having that experience where I was feeling really uncomfortable, and I had to sort of go, well, what is this? Why am I attracting this kind of energy towards me? And there's often been a lesson in that, and something that I've grown from. So even though somebody else might have called that a psychic attack or something like that, all I'm saying is that I do believe that even our team in spirit can give us little tests where we have to use our discernment and go within, because somebody might then go, oh, exactly like, oh, your light protects you, it wasn't an attack. And then the other person might go, you are under spiritual attack, you need to do this, that, and the other. They're coming for you. And what I'm going is, when you can use your discernment and go within, what was that experience for? Is there anything that you can take from that experience? Or is there something that you can grow from, or something that you can learn? So it's when you are present, and when you are not reacting to everything, and when you are mindful and conscious of that everything is just experience. And remember that you create your reality. So if you have created this circumstance or this incident that has happened, you've created it. Nobody's come and done that to you. You have created that. So why have you created that? What does that show you about? Have you been in a different vibe? Have you been a little bit negative? Have you been, sometimes it is just mirroring back to you what is there that you might need to change, because maybe you weren't aware of it before that experience. And I hope I'm making sense here, because sometimes it's really hard to put into words almost the epiphanies that I sometimes have. So if this is not making sense to you from an auditory perspective, maybe you can try and feel into my words, because I don't, I know that sometimes I don't articulate these things very well, but I'm doing my best. So this whole thing about looking at things from different perspectives and from being present in that, if you can look at things that might have adjacent possibilities or other possibilities, look at things from other perspectives, release your attachment to something, what you thought something was, what you thought someone was, what you thought yourself was. In just that different perspective, or that release of attachment, or that letting go, you enable the ties that have bound you and held you down to just dissolve. And I just wanted to remind everybody today that you have that power within you. You are your own guru. You have that power. Yes, there are people that can help you if you need help, because we are all walking one another home, but you have the power. So don't ever think that you don't have the power. You know, we're all these creator beings. So that is my message for today. It felt really important, and it seems quite small, but it seems really, it can be monumental in the shifts that one can have. And I speak from personal experience on this. So empower yourself. And if something is triggering you, or, you know, it's also only when you are present and when you're conscious that you can almost see the habits or the way you're behaving, or the little programs that you're still running. So trying to be aware and be present is probably the first key to that, because if you're just letting the program run, you often are completely unaware that it's there. And I believe that if you are present and you are connected to your soul and your subconscious shows you all the things that you can let go of that are holding you back, that your conscious mind might not be aware of. And remember that your subconscious runs 90% of the show. So when you're connected to yourself and to the present moment, I believe some of these experiences that were happening that we maybe have seen as negative can actually be positive. Because remember, every experience is just what it is. Everything that is happening is what it is. It is neither negative or positive. We assign the negative or the positive to it. And again, that's within your power. You can, because I think that there are many things that I can look at in life that I can take a positive and a negative from, you know, but am I just going to look at the negative, or am I going to look at the positive? Maybe I want to look at both. You know, so it's all how we are looking at things, and how we look at things is determined by our programs and our belief systems. So everything is connected, you know, as within, so without, you know, as above, so below, as the universe, so the soul. Remember that everything that makes up you and I makes up the whole universe. We are magic. The universe is magic. Everything is energy. We are energy. You know, it's just, when you think about it in terms of the fact that we are part of the universe, and we have the universe within us, and it is outside of us as well. I mean, it is just really quite fascinating and mind-blowing. And for me, that thought alone is just so expansive, and it can be the trigger to get you out of your smallness, if that's what you need. So yeah, and then the other interesting thing that I just want to mention that happened this week is that I have always, not always, for about the past 3 years, I have been thinking about the 3 chakras in the body that I feel are the most important. Now, I'm going to put up a caveat here and just say, when you're doing chakra work, and you might be new to it, you've definitely got to work through all those energy centers and get them, you know, all working. But I have, of the past 3 years, around about the past 3 years, been working more on my sacral and my heart and my third eye. And I think that for some of us that have been doing energy work for a little bit longer, I think that we can work on just the chakras that we want to work on. And I think that as you get more connected to your body as well, you might realize which of your energy centers might need to be tweaked a bit because the rest might be okay. And that's often, you know, when you're releasing limiting beliefs and what have you, you start to activate those centers because, you know, that in itself expands your energy out, you know, from all your limiting beliefs. So, but I'm also thinking that times are changing and they are changing rapidly. So maybe we don't need to be using and working with the chakras like we always have done. And I might get shot down for this, and I probably will by, you know, a lot of people that do chakra work and whatever. But again, this is my individual feeling and experience. And that's why I encourage everybody else to do what resonates with them. And I feel that we need to really focus on these three chakras, particularly those of us that, as I say, have been clearing, we're aware of energy, our chakras are activated, you know, we're not, you know, we're aware of these things, we've been doing the work. And what was fascinating this week is, as I say, for me, the sacral is our literal place of creation. So if you're a woman, that is the place where you literally create other little humans from. We literally create life from that center. You know, even if you're not a woman, that's where you create from. That's your creative hub within your body. That's your creative energy center. So that is where we create from, and we create our reality, and we create worlds, and we create everything, life that we see around us. The next one obviously is the heart, and that's the biggest part of us. That's the most powerful part of us. And you know, it is when you can have love in your heart, that's how we're going to change the world. For me, the heart is incredibly powerful. And then the next one was the third eye, because the third eye is your intuition, and it's what you can see that maybe these two eyes can't perceive. And that's also quite important. Now, when you work with these three together, for me, this has always been, and you know, we always talk about the power of three and like the holy trinity, and three is a very powerful number. And these three chakras have been sticking out for me the past 3 years. And I heard something interesting this week. So for me, the third eye is intuition, but closely linked to that is the sacral, because where is it? It's in your stomach. And where is that? That's your sort of third brain in the body. That's where you get your gut feelings from. Even if you don't feel like that's intuition, when you get a gut feeling for something, that is your intuition. To me, the third eye and your gut are very, very closely connected when it comes to intuition. And then, of course, we've got the heart, which is the connector of all the chakras, and it is our heart field is the most powerful part of us. And the heart is also, it's more powerful than the actual brain. Our heart brain is more powerful than anything that we can even begin to understand. So this week I was listening to a guy, and he was talking about Reiki. So for anybody out there who knows Reiki, he was saying that when you do Reiki, you can either do your first level of Reiki, which is just the energy, and then you get your second and third levels of Reiki, which are the first two symbols, which are chakra and seiheki. And then obviously you can do your third level, which is then you get your hoshize shonen, which is your distance symbol. Now, what was fascinating for me, oh, and sorry, you do get your daikomyo, but that's for the master. But generally, a lot of people have the three symbols that they use. So what was fascinating for me this week is I heard him talking about how he associates the power symbol, which is chokure, with the sacral, because that's where our power comes from. That's where we create from. And I'd never thought about it like this. Then he said the seiheki, he related to the third eye, because it's the symbol of balance and harmony. And if we can balance what we're sort of seeing here with what we're sort of seeing here, we start to understand things a little bit more, and we can also override limiting beliefs and emotional issues and that kind of thing. And then he spoke about the distance symbol, which is hoshize shonen. But the distance symbol, what the distance symbol actually does is it connects the Reiki practitioner with their distance clients. So it is a connection symbol. So he relates that to the heart. And there were my three chakras again. And I thought, wow, this is this is quite something, because I've never thought about the symbols like that. I've never really related them to the chakras, and I've been, thinking a lot about these 3 chakras lately. So anyway, so I think I was actually gonna, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's what I'll do. I was going to do another meditation, but I think what I might do is put out 3 separate meditations focusing on one of each of those chakras, and anybody that's interested can do the work to try and activate those centers, because I feel like if there's a connection, and if those centers can work in harmony with one another and get really connected, there's something really powerful about that, because the heart's sitting in the middle of almost the mind and the gut, but the intuition and the inner sight, and and creation. And it's such a powerful mix to bring those 3 together. And I'm not dismissing the other ones for any by any stretch, but all I'm saying is that I think we have got real power in our sacral. And for me, the sacral's always felt almost more powerful than the solar plexus, which is actually our seat of power. But so there's this interesting dynamic. But I'm just going, well, maybe we've shifted, and maybe we can start working on these things a little bit differently, or activating different parts of our chakras or whatever. As we're evolving, things are going to change. So why would we want to keep doing what we've always done? I don't even practice Reiki the way I was taught, so, and I think it's just what resonates. And yeah, so that was my little message for everybody today. You are so powerful, and just, you are not the small human that you think you are. You are the universe. You are part of the universe. Whatever is in the universe makes up every single cell in your body, and in your energy field. And yeah. So, and just to have a different perspective maybe on things that are holding you back, because that could be just the first little tethering of that little cord that is holding you back, may be the thing that just projects you into that next version of yourself. And the magical quote that I want to share today, which I thought was very apt, and it comes from Laura Jaworski. I hope I've pronounced that right. She says, "The universe is magic, the universe is love, the universe is you." And I think I don't need to say any more. Wishing you an absolutely magical weekend, and